with special guests Colin XP and the DBS Christmas All-Stars. Join us live on DBS Facebook and YouTube this Sunday, December 22 from 7 p.m. Sponsored by Republic Bank, Dominica National Lottery, Springfield Trading, Do It Center Express, My Boy's Restaurant and Bar, D. Kim's Entertainment Christmas Morning Fete, Continental Store, and Big Edge Financial.
What's up?
Baby, let's go! Turn your TV on. Listen to DBS on Digicel TV Channel 50 and Flow TV Channel 951.
Fair and balanced, unbiased and clear, concise and accurate. This is the DBS Evening News. Here now is your presenter with the headlines.
In the headlines, the head office for the International Organization for Migration in Dominica, IOM, commends Dominica's efforts in addressing migration challenges. In the news from the region, Barbados signs a $12.4 million loan agreement with CARICOM Development Fund. And internationally, UK inflation increase solidifies expectations that interest rates will be kept on hold. The details of these stories and more coming up next.
Christmas in this year. Can I have this?
We have an extra $400 from Flow. You can have everything you want.
More gifts with Flow. With Christmas in, win weekly prices up to $10,000 in cash. Sign up for a postpaid bundle or a broadband plan.
We Christmasing with free groceries from Flow, plus a chance to win weekly prizes and up to $10,000 cash. Head over to your nearest Flow store or visit discoverflow.co. Flow, we Christmasing.
More gifts with Flow.
DBS News.
And welcome back. Head Office for the IOM Dominica, Natasha Greaves, says a number of significant milestones have been achieved in addressing migration challenges in Dominica. Her remarks came at the IOM Dominica International Migrants Day Mixer at Fort Young Hotel this afternoon in commemoration of the International Migrants Day. IOM Dominica also launched the Routes and Roots magazine.
IOM Dominica stands proud to collaborate with the Government of Dominica and our valued partners to strengthen migration management, advance policy frameworks, and foster meaningful dialogue. This year, through these partnerships, we have achieved significant milestones. Among them was the recently building capacity of effective labor migration management workshop. I do see some of the persons who participated in the room, which brought together key stakeholders to address migration challenges and harness opportunities for national growth. Another groundbreaking achievement is Dominica's leadership in hosting the Caribbean's first Essentials for Migration data training. As we all know, if you've had to do any kind of research, data is a big gap in the Caribbean, so Dominica is not unique to the data gap. This pioneering initiative equips stakeholders with the tools to collect and analyze data for evidence-based decision-making on migration in Dominica, setting the example for the wider region. And it demonstrates its commitment to improving migration governance for the benefits of migrants and the nations alike. Today, we are also excited to unveil Roots to Roots, a magazine that captures the essence of IOM Dominica's work while amplifying the voices of migrants.
And that was the head of office for IOM Dominica, Natasha Greaves. And former Financial Secretary Rosamond Edwards has told graduates of the UE Global Campus Dominica that they should become agents of change in Dominica and the Caribbean. Her call came during the recognition of graduates ceremony at the Truth and Grace Fellowship Global this morning. 65 Dominicans took part in the recognition of graduate ceremony.
You are now part of a privileged group, and privileged people are called to do inspiring things. And so as the newest additions to the group of Pelicans, as you're referred to as a UE graduate, you are required to do inspiring things. There is no shortage of good works and acts that need to be done. And these are things right before your eyes. Everyday things that you must identify, and you must identify the niche where you can best serve. For example, within your respective disciplines and area of training, you should endeavor to make a difference. For example, the teachers among you may ponder on how best to ensure that education outcomes are met, or how the next generation can be better prepared to make their own contribution to development. Or even better, how can you make the education system in Dominica one of the best? And how can you contribute to the university's work to making it the best among the best? The managers may ponder on the best strategies to make businesses profitable without pinching and overpricing those who consume their services. The lawyers may mull over how to help the justice system to be fair for all.
Mrs. Edwards called on the graduates to advocate strongly for the fight against climate change to continue.
We are the hands and the feet needed to address the challenges posed by a changing climate. We need no more than our experiences in Dominica to appreciate and understand the impact of climate change. So we may each ask ourselves, what is my contribution to building climate resilience and reducing climate impacts? Or how do I make myself and my family more resilient to climatic events? And we can go with a broader perspective. Am I willing to add my voice to those advocating for affordable and unrestricted financing to address the climate challenge and to finance sustainable development? Or how can I lend support to those who campaign for those who contribute more to climate change to take a greater responsibility for addressing its impacts? For some of us, we may have a burning desire for research, to find methodologies and techniques that will influence public policy and underpin economic and social development. And so for others, the interest may be just in social development, focusing on gaining equity and or equal access to services by all classes of people. Again, there can be many more examples.
And that was a former Financial Secretary, Rosamond Edwards. Senior teacher at Isaiah Thomas Secondary School, Kellyanne Stedman, was named valedictorian of the UE Global Campus Class of 2024. She is also valedictorian for the UE Global Campus in the region. Amongst outstanding graduates was Akila Kyra Richards, who obtained a master's degree in medical physics. And the late Reverend Father Charles Martin is being remembered as a priest who lived for others. Father Martin passed away on December 2nd after a battle with cancer. He was laid to rest in Sufria following a church service at the Rosa Cathedral this morning. Apostolic Delegate of the Diocese of Rosa, Monsignor William John Lewis, says the late Father Charles cultivated unity in the communities which he served.
For 39 years, Father Charles faithfully served in the Diocese of Roseau and beyond. His priesthood was a shining testament to complete surrender to God's will, whether ministering to the poor, comforting the sorrowful, or celebrating the Eucharist. Father Charles lived as a servant of God, obedient to his divine plan. I think of his 39 years of dedicated priestly service to this diocese, the Caribbean, and beyond. 39 years of ministry. Throughout his ministry, Father Charles demonstrated sincerity, humility, and an unwavering love for his flock. He was a priest who lived for others. What comes to mind is the number of people he housed at his home after the hurricane for a long time. And some were very grateful, and others, well, they could have been more grateful. The number of people that he housed at the parish hall. And when they said, but we have an event, he said, but where will they go? He brought joy to his parishioners, inspired his peers, and cultivated unity in the communities he served. Those who encountered him could not help but appreciate the genuine love he poured into his vocation, a love rooted in his devotion to Christ. And so, dear friends, as we commend Father Charles to God's eternal embrace, let us carry forward his example. Let us remember, like him, we are gifts to one another, called to love, to serve, and to bring glory to God.
And that was Apostolic Delegate of the Diocese of Roseau, Monsignor Williams John Lewis. And Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. Vince Henderson is hoping the Donald Trump administration in the U.S. will address the plight of the Cuban people. The Dominica Parliament passed a resolution this week asking the U.S. to remove Cuba on a list of state sponsors of terrorism and to end the long-standing embargo against Cuba.
Clearly, Dominica wants to send a message to the world, but most particularly to the United States of America, to let them know that we stand with Cuba, and especially in light of the coming in of a new administration. I think it is necessary for us to express once again or reiterate our position on Cuba. In 2021, the Parliament did that. And we know last October, the United Nations again passed a resolution for 187 countries supporting the call to end the financial, economic, and trade embargo against Cuba, and also to call for the removal of Cuba on the list of state sponsors of terrorism, which was imposed unilaterally by the United States. This is a violation of international law. It's not consistent with there's no precedent anywhere in the world, really. But for us, we see it also as an opportunity to appeal to the new Trump administration, to really appeal to them to reconsider the views that they've expressed on Cuba, and to see if through diplomatic efforts we can come to a position that will improve the lives of the Cuban people. This is really about the Cuban people and giving them an opportunity to enjoy human rights and human dignity.
And that was the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Dr. Vince Henderson. And Minister for National Security, Reverend Blackmore, says he's proud of the people of Dominica for not responding in their numbers to a call the opposition forces had made for them to gather outside Parliament this week. The opposition called for supporters to gather outside Parliament as government took 3 electoral reform bills to Parliament for the first reading only. Mr. Blackmore says the Dominicans were not interested in creating problems outside Parliament.
And I really want to take this opportunity also to highly commend the Dominican public, including the supporters of the opposition party. And I use the word opposition party for standing for country, standing for democracy, standing for peace, and not taking seriously the call to come and stop the proceedings of Parliament. They actually are totally aware that this government is for electoral reform. They are totally aware that the players within the opposition party do not know what they want. They cannot spell out with clarity and with a degree of certainty what it is in any of the bills that they're against. I also want to place on the record my appreciation and commendation for the members of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force. These men and women are true heroes. Some of them were on sick leave and they returned to work to stand for country and to prevent the prospects of any acrimony manifesting itself within the precincts of Parliament.
And that was the Minister for National Security, Reverend Blackmore. And on our feature segment of the news, outstanding beekeeper Nathaniel Lovell of Kulabistri takes the spotlight. Mr. Lovell has taken major regional awards this year and excelled at the UK Honey Show, as just last week he was named as the top beekeeper during the Ministry of Agriculture's awards ceremony. Beekeeper Nathaniel Lovell is our feature on the evening news.
Well, it's for outstanding apiaries of 2024. I guess it was for the achievements that I've had through the year with the win from the National Honey Show and the 3 first place prizes in St. Lucia just last week, and also last year winning light and dark amber honey as well in St. Lucia.
Talk to us about your involvement in beekeeping over several years, how long it started and so on?
Yeah, well, I've been a beekeeper for more than 10 years, but in terms of as a business, it's just 5. I've grown from like 2 hives to 100. I bought 8 at one point, and then I turned it to 100, and now one of the biggest honey producers on island.
In terms of sales and so on, I think you also export honey and so on out of Dominica.
Yeah, on a small scale, but we export nonetheless. We do to St. Martin and Tortola, I think, yeah.
What about the bee sector in Dominica right now?
I think it's an area for growth. Beekeeping is looked at in Dominica as the area with the most expansion across the Caribbean. Recently in the Beekeepers Congress, Dominica had the highest margin for growth. So it's something that the Ministry of Agriculture is also looking into expanding apiculture in Dominica.
And how many beekeepers, from what you know, how many do we have, active beekeepers on the island right now?
That's a tricky question, it's a tricky answer as well. But I know for sure the National Beekeepers Association cooperative, have 90 members. I'm not sure if everyone is active, but we have 90 members in just the cooperative.
And that was outstanding beekeeper Nathaniel Lovell of Coolabistry, taking us to the end of this evening's featured segment and National Focus. Up next is news from the region and international.
Christmas in this year.
Can I have this? We have an extra $400 from Flow. You can have everything you
More
want.
gifts with Flow. With Christmas in, win weekly prices up to 10,000 in cash. Sign up for a postpaid bundle or a broadband plan.
We Christmasing with free groceries from Flow. Plus, a chance to win weekly prizes and up to $10,000 cash. Head over to your nearest Flow store or visit discoverflow.co. Flow, we Christmasing.
More gifts with Flow.
DBS News.
And welcome back. First off, official figures have shown that Barbados' government has signed a U.S. $12.4 million loan agreement and a U.S. $300,000 grant agreement with the CARICOM Development Fund, or CDF, to finance its country assistance program. This is the first time that government has received a loan and grant financing from the CDF. The agreements were signed on December 17th by Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley and the Chief Executive Officer of the CDF, Rodinald R. Suma, at Parliament. And internationally, official figures have shown that inflation in the UK rose to its highest level in 8 months during November, a development that has cemented market expectations that the Bank of England will opt against cutting borrowing costs this week. The Office for National Statistics said consumer price inflation rose by 2.6% in the year to November, up to 2.3% in the previous month. It said stubbornly high inflations in the crucial services sector, which accounts for around 80% of the UK, saw the increase, which took inflation further away from the Bank of England's target of 2%, which was in line with market expectations. Well, this brings us to the end of this evening's news. Up next is sports.
Covering the nation and beyond, DBS Sports Report.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe. And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins and bidets. PVC piping, fittings and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
And welcome to your DBS Evening Sports for today, Wednesday, December 18th, 2024. First off, Indian River Rowers and Valley Hikers all picked up wins to keep their chances of making the top 4 alive headed into the final day of a competition in the Dream 11 Nature ILT10 cricket tournament. Sports editor Gavin Richards has the story.
Sajrak Descott picked up player of the match honours as he led the Indian River Rowers to a convincing win over the Barana Ote Warriors as the Dream 11 Nature ILT10 tournament continued Wednesday at Windsor Park, while the Rowers in a must-win game batted first and made 132 for 4 in their 10 overs. Sajrak Descott got 61 and Junior Henry 24. The two put on 83 for the first wicket, and then Keon Gaston got 40. Siobhan Dorset picked up 1 for 26 and Dylan Joseph a 3 for 22 for the Barana Ute Warriors. The Warriors in reply, in search of 133, they could only get 107 for 6. Casimir Benjamin got 54 and Daniel McDonald 20. Well, bowling figures for the Indian River Rowers. Sajrak Descott, he picked up 2 for 10. Lee Louisi 1 for 1 and CJ Charles 1 for 28. We also had Keon Gaston getting 1 for 21. In the end, a comfortable win for the Indian River Rowers. Here now is the man of the match and the Indian River Rowers captain, Sajrak Descott.
Yeah, kudos to the boys. We decided that we won. We decided to go out there, and fight and give it our all and give 110%. We decided that we ain't giving away any loose deliveries, but nonetheless, good innings by Kazo.
All right, the bat, you really guys set the tone. You especially, Keon Gaston as well. Let's talk to me quickly about the batting display.
I mean, it was all about staying positive, although the wicket was a bit too pissed, but at the end of the day, the intent was key.
And everything to play for in the final game tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. We just, like I said earlier, we focus on the process and the result will speak for itself.
Gian Benjamin is the captain of the Barana Ute Warriors team.
Disappointing result at the end, but I think we let it off early off this morning in the power play. I think the bowlers didn't bowl the balls in the right area. But with that being said, I think Sajrak Descott played a very good knock this morning, and I think with the bat losing a wicket in the first over, we were always on the back foot.
All right, what sort of positives can you take from this? I'm sure Casimir Benjamin, the half century at least.
Yeah, it's good to see another batter getting on to the runs. It was good to see Casimir. He batted really well today. I think had the bowlers bowl the ball in the right area, it would have been an easy chase. But that's a game of cricket, and like I said again, a disappointing loss for us, but so it was.
Well, in the other matchup on Wednesday afternoon, Raishan Williams did it with bat and ball as the defending champions Valley Hikers handed the T2 Gorge Splashers their second straight defeat. Valley Hikers made 128 for 5 batting first. Raishan Williams got 48, Javel St. Paul 38. Well, bowling figures for the Splashers, Lex McGlaw got 1 for 29 and Daniel Dupini 3 for 27. The Splashers, in search of 129, were restricted to 89 for 8. Noel Leo got 19, Jelani Robinson 29 and Delani Alexander 23. Well, big win there for the Valley Hikers, winning by 39 runs. We had Malachi Zave taking 3 for 6, Kutni Ansem 1 for 19, and Raishan Williams 2 for 19. Here now is the winning captain, Micah Joseph.
Yeah, like I said, crunch time now for us, so we just have to continue going hard.
All right, let's talk about the key areas of the game that you think you dominated.
The power play, the way we restrict them to low total in the power play. So from there, we just have to continue squeezing them, and that's what the bowlers did first.
All right, now this result leaves you level on points with the Indian River Rowers. Everything to play for tomorrow in that final game.
Yeah, tomorrow we just have to continue going hard. The momentum, just have to continue keep it going, and the guys just have to make up their mind that we're going all out.
Detroit's T2 Gorge Splashers captain is Jelani Robinson.
Good in patches, not good long enough. That's just a summary for me.
With the bat, the Hikers really got off to a good start with Raishan Williams. Upon reflection, maybe is there anything you could have done differently?
Not so much. I think we just bowled too many boundary balls as usual, and I think that's one of the problems we had. So I just think we had to just bowl in better areas to Willie. But credit to him, he batted well.
Let's look at the batting effort now. Chasing 129. It's been a good batting track. Disappointed with how things fared out today?
Yeah, I think we could have batted better. A few tough decisions, to be honest. But you don't want to dwell on that. At the end of the day, I still have full confidence in the boys. We're in the playoffs. That's the most important thing. It's the first time in 6 seasons. So at the end of the day, there's positives. To come end well tomorrow and look forward to the back end tournament.
So everything to play for on the final day of the round-robin phase of the Dream 11 HIL T10 tournament. In the first game on a Thursday, the Barana Ote Warriors will be looking for the top spot as they battle the Champion Reef Divers. Alec Athenes is expected to be in the lineup for the Champion Reef Divers. That game will get underway at 9:30 in the morning. At 12 o'clock, the Valley Hikers and the Indian River Rowers, well, the winner of that game will advance to the top 4, while the loser will go home. And the Detroit Titugar Splashers will be in search of 2 more points as they battle the Sari Sunrisers in the final game at 2:30. Gavin Richards reporting for DBS Sports.
Special thanks to Gavin Richards for the excellent reporting as usual. And Akil Hussain has gone on top of the ICC T20 international rankings for bowlers after claiming 2 wickets in the opening game against Bangladesh. With his 2 for 13 in the thriller, West Indies lost in St. Vincent. Hussain jumped 3 places to go past 3 other spinners. In a statement, Cricket West Indies congratulated Hussain following the latest ICC player rankings released today. The left-arm spinner, who predominantly bowls in the power play, rose to 707 rating points, unseating England's Adil Rashid, Sri Lanka's Wanindu Hasaranga, and Australia's Adam Zampa. Hussain, who is now the joint 3rd highest wicket taker for the West Indies in the format, with 60 scalps alongside Andre Russell, follows in the footsteps of Samuel Badri and Sunil Narain as the only West Indies bowlers to be ranked number 1 in T20s. Meanwhile, Gudakesh Moti is 9th in the bowling rankings with 651 rating points, whilst Roston Chase rose to a career best 9th in the all-rounder category. And India off-spinner Ravik Chandran Ashwin has retired from international cricket. The 38-year-old, the 7th highest wicket taker in Test history, has made the announcement after the drawn 3rd Test against Australia in Brisbane. Ashwin, who did not play in the game, was widely recognized as one of the greats of the modern game during a 14-year India career. He took 537 wickets at an average of 24 in 106 tests, second only to Anil Kumble's 619 amongst India's bowlers. He also scored 6 centuries and averaged 25.75 with the bat.
This will be my last day as an Indian cricketer in all formats at an international level. I do feel there's a bit of punch left in me as a cricketer, but I would like to expose and probably showcase that in club level cricket, but this will be the last day, and I've had a lot of fun. I must say I've created a lot of memories alongside Rohit and several of my other teammates, even though I've lost some of them over the last few years. We are the last bunch of OGs, if we can say that, left out in the dressing room, and I would be marking this as my date of having played at this level. Obviously, there are a lot of people to thank, but I would be failing in my duties if I didn't thank the BCCI and the fellow teammates, several of them. I want to name a few of them. All the coaches who've been a part of the journey, most importantly, Rohit, Virat, Ajinkya, Pujara, who've taken those splendid catches around the bat to give me the number of wickets I've managed to get over the years. Also, a big thank you to the Australian cricket team, who've been very fierce competitors. I've enjoyed my time playing against them. It's truly a very emotional moment.
And that was India's off-spinner Ravikchandran Ashwin. And Taskin Ahmed delivered with the ball as Bangladesh beat the West Indies in the second T20 last night to take an unbeatable lead in their 3-match series in St. Vincent. Bangladesh batted first and got to 129 for 7 in their 20 allotted overs. Shamin Hussain got 35 and Mehdi Hassan Miraz 26. Gudakesh Moti picked up 2 for 25 and a wicket each went to Akil Hussain, Roston Chase, Salazari Joseph and Obed McCoy. The West Indies, or the Windies, needed just 130 to square the series, suffered another batting collapse and were 42 for 6 at one point before being dismissed for 102. Roston Chase got 32 and Akil Hussain 31. Taskin Ahmad picked up 3 for 16 for Bangladesh. Bangladesh won by 27 runs and led a 3-match series 2-0. Windies captain Rovman Powell says it was a disappointing effort with the bat.
Yeah, I think it's disappointing, to be honest. As a batting group, the last few series we have let ourselves down miserably. It's something that we have to assess from an individual standpoint. See where we keep on going wrong as a batting group, and then collectively we'll try to put it together.
I'm glad you mentioned the batting group. 129 is what the bowlers restricted Bangladesh for. You can't fault them for their efforts.
Absolutely not. You know, they have been good. You know, it's the second series or third series in a row that they have stand up for us. You know, it's us as a batting group not really coming to the party, and we're struggling at the moment to find that complete game.
Quick turnaround time, game in a couple days, the final one. These people here have come out for some success from the West Indies. How do you turn things around and motivate your guys for a final push?
I think it's just a case of playing for the people of the Caribbean now. You know, now more than ever. You know, it's important for us to leave here with a win. It haven't been that horrible of a year for us as a T20 team. You know, I think we have made some strides. But, you know, these last few series have really hurt us and put us back in a sense, you know. Remind us of the old-time West Indian teams of the past who have keep on struggling and keep making the same mistakes.
And that was Windies captain Rovman Powell. The third and final T20 is on Thursday. Kicking into some football news here, Dominica puts up a much better showing, but the national under-20 women's football team still found the going tough as they lost their third straight match in the Jewels of the Caribbean tournament against St. Vincent and Trinidad on Tuesday. Dominica opened the scoring with Lemaya Ford capitalizing on an error in the St. Vincent defense, but St. Vincent got the equalizer soon after from the penalty shot. Dominica went in front again with Lemaya Ford scoring her second of the match but conceded twice after that to lose the match 3-2. Dominica will play their final match against Trinidad on Thursday. Well, this brings us to the end of this evening's news and sports. A special thanks to the DBS News and Sports team and link personnel DJ Hittleboy.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fence pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
DBS Radio gives you top quality service over any other for live streaming of funerals. Call us today at 448-3282.
Good evening and welcome to the evening edition of the DBS Radio Community Bulletin Board. It is the 18th day of December 2024 and we begin with the evening edition of the DBS Radio death announcements on the Community Bulletin Board. We announce the death of Dorothy Francis Cadet, age 64, of McIntyre Lane, Goodwill, who resided at Stock Farm. She died on Tuesday, the 19th of November, at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital. She was a former employee at the Audit Department of the Government of Dominica. She was the mother of son Anwar Cadet and daughter Marissa. She will also be remembered by her stepchildren, Chris, Greg, and Natasha. Her brothers Reggie, Norman, Ronald, and Ivan Francis, nieces Merlin, Aretha, Kendra, Nadine or Nadine, Leanne, Kimberly, Ryla, Rayma, Norma, Nina, Marjorie, Talisha, Sashay, and Jada. Nephews Herbert Glodwani or Glodani, Atlee, Austin, Frederick, Rennick, Kurt, Marguerite, Normandy, Brenton, Brian, Reggie, Ray, Randy, Ronald Jr., Jovan, Gary, Jed, and Cameron, numerous grandnieces and nephews, Uncle Philip Francis, sisters-in-law Marlene, Sharon, Aislinn, and Relinda, brothers-in-law Randy, Richard, Jonathan, Murray, and Michael, cousins including Myrtle Weeks Thomas, Ruthine Ostry and family in St. Croix, Raphael, Mabel, Julie, McNolan, Pinard and family, Louisa, Balthazar Watt and family. Close friends and relatives including Glenda, Marigold, Solange, Ingrid, Annette, Nathalie, Gladys, Noreen, Archie, Jane, Jacqueline, Tabitha, Mona, Maria, Madeline, Linton, Josephine, Cura, Aisha, Sharon, the John family of Atkinson, the Francis families of Cochrane and Coolibistry, the entire communities of Cochrane, McIntyre Lane Goodwill, Stock Farm, and staff of the Audit Department of the Government of Dominica. The body of the late Dorothy Francis Cadet will be transported from Lyndhurst Funeral Home for viewing at 1:30 p.m. on Thursday, the 19th of December at the Truth and Grace Fellowship Global. The funeral service will take place or begins at 2 p.m. and will be followed by interment at the Roseville Public Cemetery. Management and staff of DBS Radio, the nation station, extends deepest condolences to the family of the late Dorothy Francis Cadet of McIntyre Lane Goodwill, who resided at a stock farm.
And now, your community bulletin board.
Welcome to the evening edition of the general announcements on the DBS Radio Community Bulletin Board. Let's begin with this announcement from Dowasco. Dowasco apologizes to customers in Bourne, Dodan, Pebush, Thibault, and Moorpark for the unscheduled interruption in their water supply, which is as a result of blockage at the intake following heavy rainfall. Be assured that works are ongoing to have service restored in the quickest possible time. Dowasco regrets the inconvenience and thanks customers for their understanding. Another announcement from Dowasco. Dowasco apologizes to customers in Wesley, Woodford Hill, Marigot, and sections of Kalibishi for the unscheduled interruption in their water supply, which is as a result of blockage at the intake following heavy rainfall. Be assured that works are ongoing to have the service restored in the quickest possible time. Dowasco regrets the inconvenience and thanks customers for their understanding. Dowasco informs customers in Maho and Belfast that their water supply will be interrupted on Thursday, the 19th of December, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. for the purpose of carrying out system maintenance. Dowasco regrets any inconvenience which may be caused and thanks customers for their cooperation and understanding. The insurance company of the West Indies Limited, ICWI, wishes to advise customers that their offices in Roseau and Portsmouth will be closed from 1 p.m. on Thursday, the 19th of December for a staff meeting. Normal hours of business will resume at 8 a.m. on Friday, the 20th of December. The insurance company of the West Indies, ICWI, apologizes for any inconvenience this may cause. The public is informed of a road closure for blasting operations at the terminal area at the western part of Wesley on Thursday, the 19th of December from 2:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Please be guided accordingly. That's it on the general announcements. Some Watson comes up next. Stay tuned. Well, the Newtown Primary School is the place to be this Saturday from 3 p.m. All roads, everything, and once you can walk or get there, take a bus because the Newtown Primary School is the place to be this Saturday from 3 p.m. Yes, 3 p.m. this Saturday, the Newtown Primary School for the DLP Roseau South Constituency Annual Children's Christmas Party. It's presents for the children, bouncing castle, children's trampoline, music, and much, much more will be served. DLP Roseau South Constituency Annual Children's Christmas Party. It's on from 3 p.m. and of course it's taking place this Saturday at the Newtown Primary School. That's it on the general announcements and what's on, including the death announcements on this edition of the Community Bulletin Board. Next edition is tomorrow morning from 7:40 a.m. right here on DBS Radio. Of course, we present to you the morning edition of your general announcements and what's on the Community Bulletin Board. Don't forget to hear your announcements on DBS Radio, the nation station. Come into the Sales and Marketing Team's office Mondays through Fridays between the hours of 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Also, give us a call, 448-3282, 448-3283, same times and days mentioned, except holidays. Coming up at 7 off the field, right here on DBS. In the meantime...
What? Every day is stress. Yeah, I cannot take it, baby. Next, Lord God.